Now, if you filled up your tank this weekend, chances are that you probably felt the pain at the pump. And gas prices are not the only thing on the rise. The cost of food is soaring, millions of Americans are still unemployed, and the economy continues to shed jobs. But with state and federal budgets in crisis, guess what is going to be on the chopping block? The basic programs that help already struggling Americans make ends meet. Now, we talked about the end of the American dream of home ownership, but are we now approaching the end of the American way of life as we know it? For the answer, we turn to David DeGraw from ampstatus.com. Hi, David. Can you hear me? How are you?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. How you doing?
All right. Well, before we get to the big picture discussion, I really want to stick with this topic of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac for a moment. You know, like many things that the U.S. government does, Fannie and Freddie started out with the best of intentions, helping Americans pay for a home, right? I mean, it sounds like this great, amazing thing. But unfortunately, like most government programs, it seems that a few people have found a way to cheat the system. And so quickly we see the American dream went from being a dream to the American scam. Now, you see the push to end Fannie and Freddie. Do you see this at all as an admission, maybe by the powers that be, that the system is essentially screwed?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, you know, they're the ones who put so much fraud into the system that brought the housing market down. You know, I mean, it's fine you want to talk about unwinding Fannie and Freddie. You know, let's talk about unwinding the people who caused this problem, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. How come we're not talking about winding them down? These are, you know, fraudulent institutions that exploded the housing market by a fictitious derivative economy. We should be unwinding them, not Fannie and Freddie as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, why aren't we unwinding them? You have someone like Bradley Manning who got in trouble for leaking secrets and is now, you know, facing potential death penalty, who's now spending 23 hours of the 24 hours in a day in solitary confinement. And I have not seen a single Wall Street CEO, not a single U.S. official behind bars for essentially running the economy into the ground. I mean, how do you reconcile that?
Well, I mean, you know, it's one giant mafia racket now. Wall Street, through campaign finance, is taking control of both the Democratic and Republican parties. It's legalized political bribery, just like, you know, it's legalized RICO racket in the housing market. Now, I mean, the criminals have taken over. I mean, they're obviously above the law.
The criminals, okay, if the criminals have taken over, let's talk about the money. We have more than 150 billion that went into bailing out Fannie and Freddie from Uncle Sam. I mean, somebody got rich from all that cash. Whose pockets did that money go to, and what are we going to see any returns on this?
Well, I mean, just look at people like Hank Paulson and Lloyd Blankfein and Jamie Dimon. I mean, these people cashed in on this. Hank Paulson was pivotal in every level, you know, of taking down the U.S. economy. The guy's worth over $1 billion now that we know about. He probably has twice that in, you know, offshore accounts. You know, these are the people that have to have their assets frozen, and we can recoup the money that way. I mean, 1/10 of 1% of the U.S. population has robbed everyone blind. Right now, we have 400 people in the United States who have more wealth than 155 million people combined. It's the most severe inequality of wealth we've ever had. If Americans could just understand how much wealth has been withheld from us within this 1/10 of 1% of the population, we would have Egypt and Tunisia and Libya that would all come right here, sweep the United States. People are not aware of how much money these people have stolen.